camera froze. I hit live and it was trying to go live. It told me to uh, turn the camera because it was turned the wrong way, and it didn't do any good. I turned it and it was still froze, so I had to delete the live out and then start another one. I'm sorry, really am, but that's just the way it went. See if I can get this one up to where I can get this one up so I can read the chat back here. Shows that I got 3 watching, but nobody's come back in chat yet. I'm sorry. I really am. It was locked. The screen was locked to where it wouldn't rotate when I turned the camera, and it froze and it never would go live. So I had to delete it out and start all over. So much for scheduling a live, you know. Now I have to put the thumbnail and everything back on it. Well, at least we got Dennis and we got Frida and we got Dookie. How did your cat ever come back home? I remember you was looking for him. Oh, he's been home. He just showed up. He got hungry. He's been to the vet since then and got shots and got fixed so, you know, he's not going to get kittens around and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, but I'm going to have to redo my thumbnail and put it back on my live. I hate that. I had such a nice little thumbnail on there. Decent Intrepid. Hey, ma'am. Please take my name. Jackie M says, hello, love, bad in chat. And there's Mary Zenner. Hello. I mean, it makes me mad, irritated that I get such a nice thumbnail on my live, have everything set right, and then when I try to go live, the screen locks on me and it won't turn. And when it won't turn and focus on the right setting, it will not start the live. Hi, Wilson, Mary, Dookie, Jackie, Dennis, Frida, and anybody else that's in here. Yeah, I had such a nice thumbnail, but I'll get it back. I'll put it back on there. Well, happy birthday, Benjamin. And there's Tamara. Hello. I think you had subscribed to only mod also. What? I think you subscribed only mod. No, it's subscribers only. You talking about the first one I did? Or maybe I accidentally hit the wrong setting. I don't know. Someone come grab their grandma. What? Let me go in and check the settings on this, because I may not have the settings right on this new one that I just did. And it may be letting all the trolls in. Well, wait a minute. I got to get the new one up. I can't even see the new one. There it is. Yeah, it was open to anyone, Dennis, but I'm changing it now so they can't come back in. Yeah, now it should be okay. Yeah, I forgot when I had to start the new one. I didn't go in and change the settings. And there's James Couture. Couture. Hello, how are you today? 1:50 a.m. watching you, Grandma, from Shillong, India. Wow. Almost 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon here. And there's Edith. Hello, Edith. And wouldn't you know, today I usually take Sunday as my day of rest, and I try to do as least as possible other than my live. I did do a cooking video earlier to post tomorrow. But the wind's not blowing today, y'all. Can you believe that? It's a calm, just settle down day. The wind is not stirring at all. This would have been the perfect day to get out there and burn some of that tree and do a few other things. But I'm just not messing with it today. I refuse to do it today. Maybe tomorrow. And watch, the wind will be blowing tomorrow, and I can't. We'll see. Are you doing pretty good today, Edith? Yeah, we were getting trolls. I went in and I changed the setting to subscribers only. So it's not going to completely keep the trolls out. But at least if they come in, they've got to go to the trouble to subscribe and then wait 5 minutes before they can come in to chat to leave an ugly comment or crazy comment. Wilson said, did you hear about SSA? No, I didn't. What about it, Wilson? What did you hear about SSA? I haven't heard anything going on with SSA. What's going on with SSA, y'all? Anybody? Anybody know? Because I don't have a clue. rumors. Lucky's doing great. I had to refresh my laptop. My laptop froze up. So I wasn't getting all the... I believe it because I saw the video. I'll check my email and Facebook, Krista. And there's Carmen Watson, Sunflower fan, gay, a fan. What? Yeah, I know you're new here. I've not seen that name before. That's a pretty long name. You got to be kidding me. If that happens, I'm in trouble. Because Trump had said right away that he was not doing away with Social Security. I think it's SSI, not SSA. I don't know. Social Security Administration or Social Security Insurance. What people draw when they're 65, ready to retire. You can apply for Social Security checks every month. And there's a lot of people out there depend on those checks because that's all the income they have coming in. I mean, that's all the income I had coming in was my Social Security retirement until I started YouTube. Because Social Security was not enough to pay for everything. So I started a YouTube channel or started posting videos. I already had the channel. I started posting videos to try to bring in extra money. Chipster62 said, hi, Miss Linda from Pennsylvania. Possibly winds 50-mile tornado warnings now. Oh, wow. You got the wind left here then. They're going to put SSA on Wall Street. What do you mean they're going to put it on Wall Street? Can you imagine what's going to happen to a lot of older people if Social Security ends? I mean, a lot of people out there depend on that Social Security check, just like veterans depend on their VA checks every month. Because Social Security gives me my Medicare, which is my insurance, my hospital medical insurance. I mean, I pay for it, but I still get it through them. Yeah, it would be catastrophic. And Trump said after he took office that he was not going to do away with Social Security, that he was not touching Social Security. So I don't know where this rumor comes from. I hope it's just a rumor. But I don't understand how they're going to put it on Wall Street. What do you mean they're going to put it on Wall Street? Exactly. I don't think it's going anywhere either, Reverend Kelly. Too many people are on Medicare. They depend on Medicare. They depend on Social Security. Well, yeah, it might happen eventually in the way far off future. I don't know, but they've always said that. But I don't think it's going to be ending anytime soon. Exactly. And they give it to all these people that have never even worked in this country, which is ridiculous. Hmm. I know they say that Social Security is just being drained dry. So why are they giving free medical, free money to all these other people that don't even deserve it? Well, I don't see how he did not get his veterans benefits. If he's a veteran and he was honorably discharged after his time in the service, they've got to give him his veterans benefits every month. Hmm. Yeah, I've been on it since I was 62, I think. And I hated that. The doctor put me on it at 62, early retirement. So that meant they cut my check. And I'll never get that back. And no doubt, Reverend Kelly, that most of it went to Democrats. I believe that too, Reverend Kelly. I believe honestly that Biden was trying to take down the country. Why? I don't know. What was he going to benefit from it? You're welcome, Edith. Well, doesn't he have to somehow apply for his veterans benefits? Maybe he never applied correctly or something. I'd try again. Because if he was in the service, he's entitled to his VA benefits. Well, I've been worried about that too, Wilson, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. If Trump does away with Social Security, somebody's going to lynch him. They're not going to shoot him, they're going to publicly hang him. Yeah, but can you imagine what kind of chaos it would cause if Trump gave the okay to do away with Social Security and Medicare? This whole country would be in mutiny. Not just one city or one state, all the whole America will be, they'd be after him. They'd be ready to lynch him, and they probably would. 304-year-old people can't get checks. Well, I don't think there's anybody that's 304 years old left on the face of this earth today. No, I don't think they should make tax cuts for billionaires. The billionaires are the ones that can afford to pay their taxes, not the poor people. They shouldn't be given any leniency on taxes. They should pay taxes like everybody else. Yeah, my camera froze, Uncle BB, when I first tried to go live on the original one that I set for 3 o'clock. So I had to delete it out and start over. Well, that's always happened, Reverend Kelly. These crooks will get hold of dead people's information and get their checks. It's happened for many, many years, but sooner or later they get caught. It's, you know, they steal the information, they steal your identity and get your checks. Doesn't matter if you're dead or alive. They'd rather have you dead and get your checks. That way they think nobody's going to protest against you getting it. I mean, look how many orphan children are getting checks every month. You know, people get paid to take care of these children. Either they're up for adoption or they've got to go in a foster home. And they get a Social Security check every month to help pay for their upkeep. Well, exactly. They're not supposed to be able to collect, Kevin. But unfortunately, these scam artists have realized how they can get hold of dead people's information and draw their checks. I mean, sooner or later, they do get caught if they don't catch them right up front. So they don't do it forever because they will get caught eventually. 78 degrees Friday, snowed yesterday. Oh my goodness, Reverend Kelly. It's been like 75, 80 degrees here today. But it shows 69 right now. But the wind's not blowing, so it seems warmer today. Yeah, the government's starting to get wiser to it, so it's not as easy now to claim dead people's checks or anything because they've gotten wise to it, so that, you know, they can check on it almost immediately. Like I said, if there's a death certificate filed, you ain't getting a check. But sometimes this information goes through the cracks and it's not caught. And they might get a couple of checks before it's caught, you know. And people realize, hey, you're getting a dead man's check. You can't do that. I just made balsamic marinated pork chops in air fryer for first time. It was pretty good. I cooked a quick dinner just in case power goes out. Well, good for you, Chipster. I fixed me some pork chops today too, but they were barbecued. That's what I did my video on. I'll post tomorrow. Hmm. Well, everybody's saying those fires that were in Hollywood and all the ritzy homes burnt down and all that. It was told that a lot of realtor companies were trying to buy the property before, and most of the people would not sell the property because they didn't want to sell it. They still wanted to live there. And then all of a sudden the fires broke out. So now you know probably a lot of them are not going to rebuild. Some of them will go ahead and sell the lots or the property and, you know, to realtors, and they'll rebuild a house and sell it and make a lot of money. Yeah, Dead Man's Check sound like a Western. It sure does. There were tunnels under them. Under the houses in Hollywood? Is that what you're talking about? I didn't know that. That sounds like something back in Gatsby days, the mob era. Oh, wow. I never knew that. Your video's acting up. How's it acting up, Wilson? It seems fine on my end. It's been there for years. They didn't want you to know. Well, now, New York City, back in the day when the mobs were real active up there and liquor was illegal and all that, they had a lot of underground tunnels and underground speakeasies where you go in a restaurant, you disappear through a back door and you go underground and you're in a bar basically. And you're served the illegal whiskey that they brew. Now, that was true. Yeah, it's clear on my end. I don't know. And Wilson says I'm freezing up. Well, it may be your computer or your whatever you're watching on, because it's not freezing up here. It's doing fine. Uncle BB said, my nanny told me there were tunnels in our New York suburb. I know. There was a lot of tunnels and underground speakeasies. And you know, the speakeasies were their bars. That was where they served all the illegal liquor that they couldn't have above ground, because if the cops come in to raid it, they found nothing but a restaurant with people eating food. They didn't find people being served alcohol. That was all underground. Until finally the cops got wise and realized they were underground and got raided. East, it was on Manhattan, Greenport, New York, Claudia Restaurant. Your spinach sprouted? Well, I've got turnips, beets, yellow beets, red beets. I've got a lot of my stuff sprouted. I've got zucchini plants about that tall, and yellow squash about that tall. But I've got some in the greenhouse I need to get out and get them replanted or transplanted. I've got tomatoes coming up in the greenhouse, but they're not big enough to transplant yet. I think I've got my purple tomatoes. Yeah, some of those trunks looked like they were underground. See, my granddad was a New York City police officer during that time. Him and my grandmother got married in 1925. And he was a cop. I'm not sure exactly what year he became a cop, but he was a cop. He was shot in the neck on an arrest. In fact, he was trying to arrest a black guy, and he was shot in the neck. After that, he became a detective. New York City detective. But yeah, the gangs, the mob, the speakeasies, all of that stuff was pretty rampant back then during that time. He grew up in New York City because his parents come over on a ship, from Italy, and became American citizens when he was just a little toddler. Him and his sister were both toddlers, and they all became American citizens. And he grew up in New York City, and then he was in the army first. He was on the fire department for a while, and then he became a cop. New York City cop. Oh, I'm sure there is. There's probably still a lot of tunnels in New York City underground that people don't know about, or maybe they have been found and closed off. And there's probably more cities than that's got underground tunnels. I can't remember the city today that has like a shopping mall underground. Yeah, they had the Jewish mafia back then. They had Italian mafias. Oh, they had mafias going crazy back in the 20s and 30s. I forgot the name of where my grandparents resided in New York, because I don't remember the town's name where my grandfather grew up, but I know it was New York City. Somewhere in the city, they got it all divided up into different names: Queens, the boroughs, Brooklyn. Oh, hello, so whoever you are, I don't remember seeing you before. You must be new. They tore that house down. I saw something that said there was a tunnel system underneath the Idaho murder house, and they tore that house down. Yeah, they had no time for gardening. Well, when we lived up there when I was a little girl, we lived in Manhattan. Earlier years, we lived in other parts of the city. I don't remember the names of the different areas. All I can remember is they had the black wrought iron banisters coming down the wide steps in front of the apartment houses. And then we got into this brand new apartment building on in Baruch Drive in Manhattan is where we lived at last before we moved to North Carolina for good when I was about 8, 9 years old, somewhere along in there. Your papa grew up in Brownsville? Yes, I grew up knowing the hustle and bustle of New York City and also the quiet of the country. Because my dad was from way out in the country in North Carolina, as far out in the country as you could get. His parents owned a farm. That was how they made their living. And then my other grandparents in New York, my granddad was a police officer. They lived in an apartment. They didn't know what growing a garden was even, much less a whole farm. But I'm glad, because I got to see both sides of the spectrum, and I enjoyed both of it somewhat. I enjoyed growing up in the country. I enjoyed being in New York City when we lived there. I'm talking about the 4 University of Idaho students murdered in 2022. I don't remember anything about that. And that's the Tor house that they tore down. Well, good. They shouldn't have capitalized on murders of 4 students. Okay, it's time to ask a question to give some seeds away. If I can find my pen. I don't know how many of you watched the video that I posted earlier today. But can anybody tell me at least 2 things I planted in the little raised bed that I just finished? I filled both of them up. I haven't planted in the big one yet, but I planted in the small one beside it. Name at least 2 items that I planted in that raised bed. Well, no, I think I was gonna plant marigolds there to help ward off pests, insects, but I haven't planted marigolds in there yet. But I planted the other stuff. Huckleberry bush, no. I've got a raspberry bush planted here, and it's in a great big tub. But I think I've got to move it because it's never bared fruit, and I think it's not getting enough sunshine. It grows like crazy. It'll bloom, but it never has any raspberries on it. And I've been reading up on it, and part of it could be that it's not getting enough sun. No, didn't plant sage. Y'all didn't see my video. It was titled something about the wind not blowing today. The winds calmed down or something. Didn't plant cucumbers. Didn't plant pepper in there either. Nope, that was in the other raised bed that I've got beets. And no, I don't have marijuana in any of it, William. Yeah, nobody watched it, did you? Let's see what the name of it was. It was one I posted. It was late, but I did get it posted earlier today. See if I can find it and tell you what the name of it was. You watched it? I titled it, What? No Wind? Hi, Red Doll. Or Redall, however you pronounce it. Dennis, you got one right. I planted popcorn. But I don't have donut seeds. I planted popcorn, though. So popcorn is one. No, didn't plant watermelon in that, not that raised bed. The last two raised beds are put right beside one another. I planted the little one because I got it filled first. And then I did fill the second one, but I haven't planted any seeds in it yet. Egg seed? What do you mean egg seed? I haven't got any egg seed. And I didn't put eggplant in there either. My watermelon's planted in that blue, big round blue pot. No potatoes, no garlic, no spaghetti. No tomatoes. No seeds to grow eggs. Give me one more thing I planted in there, Dennis. I haven't planted sage at all. I don't usually like it in my food. I don't like the taste of it, so I've never planted any. I thought about planting some this year, but I don't think I even got any seeds for sage. The neighbor. Well, hey, yes, you might be right. What did I say that I was going to plant with the popcorn? I told y'all this in several of my videos. I even told you that what I was planting in another spot, why I planted corn with it. No, not a lucky rabbit's foot. What would benefit by a corn stalk? What kind of vegetable would benefit from a tall corn stalk? Or that's supposedly the idea. I don't know. No, not the dirt. Jana got it. Beans. Well, yeah. I planted some beans. No, I didn't plant. I planted pumpkin over where the watermelon is. You don't plant butter. But I planted those dark beans or peas. They'll climb up the stalk and use it as a trellis. And, I told y'all I planted some corn in my pea garden over here where I plant my peas every year. I planted at least one corn stalk in each one of those pots for the peas to go up. And I'm hoping it's going to help them climb because they don't do too good of getting on that trellis. I think maybe the trellis gets too hot in the sun. But I'm hoping the cornstalk idea will work better. I don't even like chickpeas. I don't have chickpeas to plant. I'm allergic to mushrooms, and there's mushrooms in that topsoil that I mixed in with it. So I use mushrooms as fertilizer. Try not to breathe it, though. I planted those Yoko. It's YOUKOU pole beans, and the beans itself are a brown with a black stripe. They look almost like the greasy beans, but they're not a greasy bean. I never, I couldn't find my greasy beans, so I planted those Yoko pole beans in there with my popcorn. Yoko Ono. Janet and Dennis has already guessed popcorn and beans, but I planted something else in there too. Allergic to turkey tail mushrooms. I don't even know what a turkey tail mushroom looks like. I wish I had some magic beans. I don't have any. But Dennis and Janet's got them some seeds coming so far. Because at least they got one item each that I planted there. Popcorn and pole beans. Edith says, I'm lost. I apologize. Well, you probably didn't see the video I posted this morning. Oh, I got tons of sunflowers that I've got to transplant because everywhere I had sunflowers last year, they dropped 1,000,001 seeds. And I think every one of those seeds is coming up this year. So I'm going to have to start pulling up those sunflower plants and transplanting them to other parts of the yard because I don't want them growing in my onions or my beans or any of my vegetables. They'll hog all the nutrients in the water. So I can't leave them in there. I got to get them out. I thought I'd try to wait till the first time it rains so the ground is going to be wet, and then I'll transplant all I can so I don't have to worry with watering them. Garbanzo beans. I don't even know what a garbanzo bean is. Oh, a rainbow brown colors half plate mushroom grows on a tree bark. Dwight Yoakam. I didn't plant Dwight Yoakam, that's for sure. You're being silly, Dennis. Yeah, I'm hoping that the wind's not blowing tomorrow because I got to get some of that tree burnt. We don't have a burn ban or anything right now. I looked up the fire marshal and read about it, and it said there's no currently any fire bans going on. And since I live in the county, and this is the tree that was cut down in my yard, it's natural brush that was, cut down in my yard, so I have the right to burn it on my site. What turkey tail burned log got pneumonia? Wow. You're expecting snow Wednesday? I don't even know what ours is. I haven't looked at the forecast. Let me look. I hope we don't get any more of snow. A fish named Wanda. No, I didn't plant any fish in my garden. I would have if I'd had some fish. They'd have made great fertilizer. Wanda Hendricks, Iowa. I've got a darn white potato coming up in the middle of where my, what is it I planted over there? Oh, hot peppers. I'm going to have to get that out of there. I don't want it messing up my hot peppers or my bell peppers. I don't know which pepper I planted there. I'll have to look. Wednesday, it's going to be 63 degrees here. It got up to 70 today. It'll be 82 tomorrow, 84 Tuesday. And then Wednesday, it's going to be 63 for a high, 38 Wednesday night, 66 Thursday, 45 Thursday night. And then it's going to start going back up. Friday, 77 for a high, 48 for a low Friday night. And then by Sunday, it's going to be back up in the 80s. But no stormy, no freezing weather, no rain, no nothing. I guess we're going to have to wait till April to get rain. Texas may be safe due to being down. Yeah, this is our, I mean, we're already in spring. The winter for us in Texas is pretty much gone. Yeah, and it's going to be in like 40s and 50s here tonight. It'll be 45 degrees for a low tonight. And my banana trees come up. If you saw the video that I posted this morning, you'll see my banana trees come back up about that tall. I just hope we don't get another freeze, because if it does, it'll probably kill the green part and it may not want to come back again. 54 tonight in New York. Well, that's going to be good. But I didn't realize I've planted my banana tree right on the property line almost. I mean, it's safe as long as I don't put a fence up, but because there's other trees growing in the easement. But that one's pretty much on the property line. I don't know. It may be an inch or two on my side. I don't know. I haven't gotten out there and just actually measured it. Oh, no. +1 here tonight. Figure that out. Oh, no. That's cold. 1 degrees? I'm glad I'm not there. And there's Batman. I'm doing great. Today's my lazy day. Maybe your neighbor will have a pet chimp. I doubt it. But the guy that lives next door, Victor, a young guy, he's not, I don't know if he's in high school or if he's out of high school, but he's not very old. And then the other guy, Ray, who was an older man, was over there cutting a tree down yesterday, or trimming it on that other property there on the other side of where they're building a new house. And I hollered for him because I said I had already pulled 2 limbs out of my tree because the wind had whipped around so hard it broke the limbs and they fell. So I pulled them out and pulled them to the side, and I hollered over there and I said, hey, or I said, hola, because I didn't know if they understood English or not. And Ray doesn't speak much English at all, but Victor does. And I got them to come over here and cut that tree down because it was going to fall down, and I didn't want to be standing under it one of these days when a limb come down on my head. And they cut it up for me now. I just have to burn it. He said they'd help me do anything else I needed done. So I may get with them later on about my sink. Maybe they know how to, or they could probably change out the drain. May have to do the whole sink. I don't know. That's what I'm afraid of. I've got the sink, but it's the labor charge that I'm afraid of. Because I've forked out a lot of money here lately, on my propane tank being filled and one thing or another having to pay off some bills, and it's kind of drained my bank account. Yeah, I watered it. About every day when I walk by it, I'll grab one of the buckets where the runoff from the tote goes in, and I'll pour a little bit on the banana tree just to keep it wet, damp. But it surprised me if it grows, and it's trying its best to grow, that it made it through the winter, y'all. That's what I'm doing, Kevin. I'm growing peas, squash, lima beans, zucchini, early dew melons, Charleston gray watermelon, little green watermelons, and I can't think of the name of them. Peppers, bell peppers, hot peppers, jalapenos, tomatoes. I've got a bunch of tomato plants out there already. I've got celery growing. Linda, do they charge for when you wash? I wash my clothes here at my house. I have a washing machine here at my house. I do my own clothes. I can't afford going to the laundromat. And as far as I know, there's only one laundromat left in Hood County that only charges you like $1 to wash your clothes, a regular size load, and like 25-50 cents for a couple of minutes in the dryer. And they have a couple of big washers that they're like $6 or $7 just for one wash load, but they hold like 4 or 5 loads. Yeah, I got my own little farm going on back here. I just don't have no farm animals. Here they charge you extra if you do washing during prime time. You mean at your own house, Jana? How do they know you're doing your laundry? Yeah, we got water restrictions here, and we've had water restrictions for a year, but that's for outside watering. So far, I guess you can run all the water you want inside. And I'm going to start storing my washing machine water too. I'm going to start pumping that into those containers outside and store it to water plants with. I'm recycling every bit of water I can recycle to keep my water bill down. That's what the little black buckets are for. Yeah, the lady that runs that laundromat, she said most of the other laundromats around here charge about $15-16 for that big washer, just one load. I don't know how much they charge for the regular washers or the dryers. But I said I can't afford to go to any of them. I just wash mine here at the house. Someone will give drums away. Well, I don't know. I don't know anybody that gives any of those away, so I haven't gotten any for free. I just buy those 32-gallon plastic containers. Well, that's what I've been using so far. And I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I've got 7 or 8 of those 32-gallon containers that are holding water just for the garden. prime times in the winter and the summer. PVC 3/4 boiler drain with buckled fittings. I don't know what you're talking about, Kevin. Yeah, so far our restrictions is not for inside the house. It's all the outside watering. You can't wash your car on your property. You can't hose down your sidewalk. You can't wash your lawn furniture. You can't have any outside watering whatsoever except on your one watering day per week. And then you can water your plants with a soaker hose between certain hours. You can't run sprinklers. But even on the days you can run water, you can't wash your car or wash your sidewalk or anything like that. You can just use the water hose to water your plants, which is a bummer because it's been going on for 3 years. And I'm afraid if they ever lift the restriction that the water bill is going to double, which we pay enough already. I pay about $80 a month and I hardly use any water. Yeah, I hang my clothes outside and inside, Wilson. Clothes like this blouse I've got on or my shorts, well, I wash them. I put them on hangers and hang them on the shower door. They dry overnight on the shower door. Or sometimes I'll hang them outside on the clothesline on the hangers. Most of the time, I just put them in here. My bath towels, sheets, stuff like that, most of the time, I put outside on the line that I've got. And if it's rainy weather, I just throw them over the shower door and my sheets will dry in there real quick. And some of my neighbors said they wish they had a clothesline so they could hang their clothes out because it could cost too much to run their electric dryer. And here in Texas, it's so dry and hot in the summertime, your clothes will get dry quicker outside on the line than they do in a dryer. That's no lie. And I never like putting my clothes in a dryer because they shrink most of the time. Doesn't matter how low you put the setting, they still shrink. Sounds like shower hours. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I'll get with Victor and Ray later and see if I can get them to do something with my sink. But like I said, I use the dishpan anyway because I want to save the water and water my plants outside the door with them. So that water doesn't have to go down the drain anyway. And it will go down the drain without leaking. You just can't hold water in the sink without it leaking down the pipe. Well, if you have any backyard at all, you should be able to have a clothesline. I mean, I don't know if you live in an apartment or where you live, but my grandmother had a clothesline and she lived on a second or third story apartment. But the apartments were like surrounding a courtyard, and they had their clotheslines run from their windowsills out to poles in different places, and they had the draw line to where you could hang clothes and reel it out, hang more clothes, reel it out, hang more clothes till you got your line full. And then when you got ready to bring them in, you just started taking them in and reeling the line towards you. It was on a pulley like. I don't either because I don't have a dryer to put them in. The only thing that I really like to put in a dryer, I would think, is towels. Bath towels because they come out so fluffy. But on a windy day, if I hang them outside, you'd think they come off the dryer because they're all fluffed up. You're kidding me, Wilson. They got a ticket for hanging clothes outside on the line. I can't believe that. I've never heard of a law against hanging your laundry outside on a clothesline or either one of those, what do you call those clotheslines that fold up? They're like umbrellas. You open them up and they've got tons of cord around it, and you can hang almost your whole laundry around that opened up clothesline. A friend of mine complained because she was always using the dryer, and she's got like had like 5, 6 kids. So that was a lot of laundry. And I said, well, why don't you put your clothesline outside and hang your clothes? They'll get dry quicker outside than they will inside anyway. Well, I can't do that. I said, why not? There's no law against having a clothesline, especially not here. I mean, you live in a nice neighborhood, but it's not that high class that they would not allow a clothesline. So you know what she did? She put one up close to her house, real close to the back, and she started drying her clothes out on the line. That's what I do, Kevin. I've got a shower door, so I can hang it on top of the metal door, the opening of the shower. I just put my jeans or my shorts or my blouses, my dresses, I put everything on a hanger and hang it up on the doorway. That way that my good clothes are not out in the sun, to get faded. Well, we don't have that rule here yet. And I hope to God we never do, because that is a sorry day when you're not even allowed to put a clothesline in your backyard to do your laundry. And if that ever happens here, it's because they're pushing electric dryers or gas dryers. That's insane. Most people that are building new homes here are putting up privacy fences around their yard anyway, so you don't know what's in their backyard. Spray with Febreze and I don't think so. That's awful stuff, Febreze. I'll never forget one time my first daughter-in-law was cleaning the car out, and she sprayed the inside with Febreze thinking it would make it smell better. Oh my God, my son had a fit. He got in the car and he said the seats were like slimy with that Febreze on them. He told her not to ever spray that crap on anything else. Well, it shouldn't. I don't know why my audio goes out and in. Is anybody else having that problem? Wilson, you've had trouble hearing and seeing me ever since we got started. I think it's your internet service or your Wi-Fi. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think it's just where Wilson is located. Pouring down rain. Well, I wish you'd send me some of that rain. My garden could use some good rain soaking a couple of days a week. From here on in, my seeds would pop up. Well, it'd have to be his eyes and his ears, because he said my audio was going out too. But it's got to be the reception he's getting. Your 2X friendly ducks return to my bird feeder station, third year. That reminds me, I've got to put out some bird seed. My bird feeders are empty. My poor birds are wondering, well, why are you not putting food out? You're not going to feed us? Yeah, Wilson, are you feeling dizzy? Did you get enough sleep last night? Only ads. There's a law that does allow hanging your clothes. does allow hanging your clothes or does not allow hanging your clothes outside. I mean, I would think that would have to be a ritzy neighborhood that would be so snooty that they would forbid anybody from hanging their laundry outside to dry. My daughter-in-law said, well, you know, I'd love to hang mine out if I had a clothesline because I'd rather have the fresh smell of clothesline dried clothes than have them from the dryer because all you smell is that dryer smell. And there's Father Gatto. Hello. Dennis, the picture's okay, but your house is spinning. Well, you must live in a high dollar neighborhood, Wilson. Because if I lived in an area like that, if I had any backyard at all, I'd definitely have me a privacy fence up so I could hang my laundry outside. If they can't come in your backyard and see your laundry, they don't know you got it hanging out. Until we call you Dennis or Dorothy. But I'll get you those seeds out, Jana and Dennis. Hopefully tomorrow. I can just put them in an envelope and stick them in the mailbox. I think Dennis lives in Florida, doesn't he? Dennis, don't you live in Florida? Yeah, I thought Florida. You're getting some weather there now, Jana? Well, have any of y'all ever grown raspberries before? I've got a raspberry plant out here that I've got in a great big pot. It grows like crazy every year. It blooms, but it never puts out raspberries. And I can't figure out why. I haven't been to the store yet, Tamara. So I might go later this evening. I've been reading up on it, and they say one reason it might not bear fruit is because it doesn't get enough sun. And that could be true because it's in the part of the garden where the arbor is back here, where it's in the shade most of the day. So I'm thinking maybe if I just move it out from there and move it out behind the shed and put it in the sun, we'll see if it what it does back there. I mean, that's all I know to do it. I've been putting fertilizer, Epsom salts, whatever I could think of to it, but and you think after the way it grows so good that it would bloom and put fruit out there. My blackberry bush died, but the raspberry survived. And the blackberry I had planted out where it got a lot of sun. So I'm almost afraid if I move my raspberry bush out in the sun that the sun's going to kill it. 902 feet above sea level at my house. Wow. Need bird net for raspberry. Well, if I'd ever see a berry come on it. Oh, you got your grandkids there today, Dennis, huh? So they're keeping you busy. Keeping you busy. Well, if I ever saw any sign of a raspberry, I would probably cover it with some type of net, but I haven't seen any yet. I don't know what elevation I'm at here, but I know all the water's down below me. Everything drains off this hill pretty fast. Yeah, I thought in the beginning that the raspberries and the blackberry bushes needed the sun. So I planted the blackberry bush out in the sun right in front of the shed. It died. I guess the sun got too hot on it. And the raspberry bush, I put it in the ground, but closer to the house in partial shade. And it started growing like crazy. It just never has given me any raspberries. Well, I live on top of a rock mountain. I'm on the very top of it. Everything is basically downhill from here. In Arkansas, they had some very bad storms. Well, maybe that's why we had so much wind for those several days. There were storms around us, but none of them hit here. Just the wind. He used to pair it with another plant. Hmm. Let me see if it says on the internet anything about what you could pair a raspberry bush with. Well, they told me you didn't need but one, that you didn't need two or three, for pollination or anything, that you just needed one plant. But I'm beginning to wonder, because it's like my little flower buds are not getting pollinated. It says, consider enhancing your raspberry garden. Consider pairing with alums, garlic, chives, and onions, which deter pests, and cover crops like buckwheat or oats, which improves soil health. Avoid raspberries near nightshades like tomatoes, potatoes, as they share susceptible diseases. And well, last year I had tomato plants growing right beside my raspberry bush. Marigolds, like always, lavender. And if my lavender ever comes up, I'll have lavender to spread around the garden. Marigolds, too. I got plenty of garlic. I could plant garlic in there with my raspberry bush, because I've got a whole package of garlic that I need to plant that I haven't planted yet. I don't know what I did with it. It's over here somewhere. And lavender attracts the pollinators. Nasturtiums attract pollinators. Yarrow, mint. Mint repels aphids. Turnips. Turnips act as a trap crop for Harlequin beetles, which can also target raspberries. Bush beans and peas you can plant. It said these plants can be grown near raspberries without competing for resources. Lemon balm, lily of the valley, white clover. Well, I didn't know that, and I've been planting tomatoes and eggplant side by side, and it says here not to plant tomatoes or potatoes or eggplants near raspberries. Oh well, I haven't had any berries to worry about yet. Little Buddy and Lucky are fine. Lucky's sound asleep right now. Lily of the Valley was your aunt's perfume. Raspberry plants like clay soil. Well, like I said, my plant grows like crazy. It puts out beautiful green foliage and everything and new shoots all the time. And it will have clusters of like the little flowers, the little white flowers, and they barely even open and then they're gone. So I'm just wondering if I need to move it out in the sunshine more. I'm doing great, Cheryl. How are you? Well, I have lilies all out in my rock garden. I don't know that they're lily of the valley, but they're lilies. Got them in all different colors. And they're all trying to come up. Oh no. Uncle BB, I can't imagine somebody spraying that stuff in your office. Anywhere it lands, it makes it gooey, slimy. I don't know if I could even get a peach tree to grow here. Well, I've got trees between me and the new neighbors, but over here on the side of me, my lot that I own that's just got trees and underbrush on it. But back here, there's nothing between me and the new neighbors, or whenever the house is finished, it's not anywhere near being finished yet. Well, we have freezing winters here. It gets pretty cold sometimes. It just don't stay that way for several months on end. Almonds will grow near you, huh? Well, that little banana tree's surprising me because it's determined it wants to grow. Every time it grows, and we have a freeze and it kills the top, it comes right back. So it's trying its best to grow and produce me a banana tree. Use peach pits. Well, I might try that. I just never buy peaches. I need to put out some more black eggplant. I've got the Casper, the white ones, some of them planted, or the seeds put down, wait for them to germinate. But the seed of my eggplant that I put in the greenhouse, it never has come up. So I need to reseed some area with the black eggplant to get it growing this year. Chicken backs and rice and chicken feet. I don't think so, Wilson. Chicken backs and rice wouldn't be too bad, but you can keep the chicken feet. Kiwi, you're in their grow zone. Wow, really? Never thought about growing kiwi. I'll have to buy me a couple of peaches and save the pits and plant them. Oh, really, Tamara? You still eating that Valentine's candy? You're welcome. I would give you loads of peaches. I don't have anybody that has peaches around here. And I can't remember if my neighbor, the first year she moved in her new house up here, she's moved now, but when she did live there the first year, she planted either a peach or a pear tree. And she got fruit the first year she planted it. But I can't remember if it was a peach tree or a pear tree. Wilson will give you my recipe for chicken beet casserole. I don't think so. He can keep it. You grow peaches on Long Island? Well, you probably get more water in the ground there than I do here. That's the reason I was surprised that that poor little banana tree is trying to grow. It's trying its best to come back out of the ground. It'll tickle me to death if it does grow. And I don't think the water company will say anything about it being on the edge of the easement because it's right there on base, almost on the property line. Because they have trees growing in the easement already, oak trees and these mesquite trees and every other kind of tree. It'd probably be a relief to see a banana tree instead of a mesquite tree or an oak tree. But I was kind of guessing at where the property line was because I didn't know that, I couldn't find the corner post that go down for the surveyors put down because it had been so many years ago that it was first surveyed. I never could find those, and I didn't know exactly where the property lines were, but I was close. Peaches grow dense leaves, can't see through trees. I need to plant a row of them on my over there along the privacy fence. Oh my God, the owner that's building that house, which is the realtor, would have a fit because he wanted all the trees cut down. He didn't want trees on either side of that house. And I thought to myself, well, it's not your freaking decision to make. That's my lot, and if I want trees on it, it's going to have trees. I could go over there and plant a whole row of trees where they cut mine down, and they couldn't say a thing about it. It's my lot, not theirs. No, I've never gotten a email from him, so unless he sent it the last time I looked. Let's see if I can find my Gmail. He probably forgot about it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see any emails from anybody. Camel's beak consomme. Yeah, on this side, when they started clearing the lot and everything, they cut several of my big trees. And they said they were dead, but they weren't. Because, these mesquite trees go into dormancy in the winter, and now they're turning green again. That's the reason I waited so long, because I knew this tree was dead. But I kept giving it every benefit of the doubt. I said, well, maybe it's kind of a late bloomer, but it never started getting any green to it. And like I said, when the wind blew, it was breaking the limbs out. So I had no alternative but to cut it down. But these over here were alive. Even the small trees that were coming up, they pushed them over with, I don't know if it was a backhoe or what it was. And some of them were still alive, still rooted in the ground, but they pushed them over and they were leaning like this. So, they might grow, but they're going to grow continually like that. They're not going to grow straight up. So I went over there and cut some of those down, the little bitty ones. And I said, I need to go over there and just plant me a whole row of new trees. Hanging behind me, talking about this. This is a ice maker that my son and daughter-in-law got me for Christmas a year or so ago. I've only used it once because I have ice trays in my freezer. I'd rather have the big ice cubes than to have the little crushed ice. Because I usually put it in tea or lemonade or something like that, and I don't want a slushy. I want, just in there to get my tea and my lemonade cold. Plant peach pits, peach tree versus dense growth, about 10 foot tall at max. Well, I'll have to get me a bunch of peaches and go over there and plant me a bunch of peach pits. Yeah, I mean, just because they move in an area or they want to build a house in an area on a lot and they don't want trees on either side of their house, well, they don't have the right to go on your lot and cut your trees down. Plant some of those Wizard of Oz trees. I don't know what those would be, Dennis. What is a Wizard of Oz tree? Dry the pits 3 days first. Okay, Kevin. I'll do that. If I go to the store later today to get my corned beef for tomorrow and my milk, then I might buy me a bag of peaches. Well, I've tried growing avocado plants and I've grown avocado trees, but the first freeze we have, it kills the trees. They can't survive through the winter here. He means trees that talked. Oh, I'd love to have a tree that could talk. Yeah, but I've tried growing them and I grow them from pits. I had a beautiful avocado tree in a big pot, like a 3-gallon pot that I grew it in. It was beautiful, but it will not survive outside. And if you bring it in, it doesn't get enough sun inside to look good. And by the time I put it back out that next summer, it looks kind of puny. And I've had them start growing in my compost before from the pit. And the first time it freezes, it kills them. Get some milkweed. Well, I've planted some that Brooklyn sent. She sent me, I think it was milkweed for Christmas, some milkweed seed. And I put some out in a couple of little seedling cups to get them to grow. I don't think they've come up yet. Like I said, they'll grow here, but they can't handle the winter cold months. I don't know if apple trees would grow or not. And I don't know if the trees that lady planted in her backyard survive through the winter or not. Make a peach cobbler first and then save the pits. Linda, I leaf you. What? And I don't know what in the world he's talking about. The only thing hanging up behind me is jars, a clock, and my smoke detector. He might be talking about that smoke detector right there. That's a smoke detector. Trees that catch people you never watch. Yeah, I watched it, but I forgot about the trees. I forgot all about the trees. I've watched Wizard of Oz so many times it's ridiculous, and I just forgot about the trees. Good afternoon, Jay. Well, it might have been a pear tree that my neighbor planted, so maybe that tree is still there. I don't know. Well, Walmart sells fig trees, and I've been wanting to get one, but they're so expensive. I said, I don't know if I want to turn loose of $30 for a fig tree, and then maybe it die on me. So I don't know. I might splurge and get one year. Pecan trees will live around here. I had a pecan tree coming up in my rock garden one time, and I wish now I'd have left it there. A squirrel or something brought a pecan in the yard and buried it in the rock garden. And I had all of a sudden this tree was coming up in the corner of my rock garden. And I didn't know what it was, so I dug it out, and it was attached to a pecan. So I said, well, that was a pecan tree. And I tried replanting it, but it died. So I should have just left it alone, but I didn't know it was a pecan tree. Well, I don't know if we get enough moisture in the dirt here all year to keep a pecan tree alive, or a walnut tree, either one. I was just taking a chance on those banana trees. I wasn't sure if they'd even grow here, but this one survived and is still trying to grow, so we'll see. What kind of tree for free? Light 10 light star? I got trees on my vacant lot over here. It's my lot. Oh, maple trees. No, I don't know of any maple trees around. My son's got, I think, pecan trees in his backyard, over where he lives, but they were there when he bought the place. All the wild forest land or open land here, all it has on it is cactus, mesquite trees, and if you're lucky, an occasional oak tree. Olive tree. I was wondering about that because they grow them in Italy in rocky terrain. So I was wondering if it would grow here in this rocky mess I've got on this mountain. Well, I've got oak trees in my yard now, but they're what they call the scrub oaks. They're not very pretty trees, but they do put off a lot of shade. And that's one reason I don't want anybody to cut them down. I said I cut them down and I'll never get another tree to grow to put off shade. Yeah, it was desert area before they put this 30 some odd mile lake in. Granbury Lake is a man-made lake. It was basically desert area before with the Brazos River running down through it, which is not very big at all. Just almost, in most places, much more than a creek. We probably got a lot more trees around here now since they put in the lake. Like I said, the pecan trees would grow here because there's one subdivision, Pecan Plantation. That's why it's called Pecan Plantation, is because the whole subdivision is pecan trees everywhere. Wild grown pecan trees. Yeah, like I said, a squirrel planted me one time, and I didn't know what it was coming up, and I dug it up just to find out it was attached to a pecan. I planted it back again, but it died. It didn't like to be uprooted. I don't know. I know the one of my neighbors bought pine trees and planted them in her yard, but they're the real tall ones. I forget the name of them. Tall one like grows in the corner of the house my dad built back in North Carolina, and I don't know the name of it. Yeah, I know pine trees can get awfully tall. And I don't know if the wind broke that limb over on this side next to the privacy fence or not. But I heard something and went over there and looked, and it was down. So I came back to the house and got my handsaw and went over there and sawed it off and drug it to the back of the lot. Bushy pines make nice privacy fences. Crepe myrtles do too. I've got, let's see, one, two, three, four, five crepe myrtles that have survived over the years that I planted years ago. I planted two beside the carport out here. So in the afternoon, it shades the car, under the carport when it gets big enough to put off shade. And I guess the people are getting ready to move in next door. They've been moving in furniture for 2 days, and there was, I think the cable guy was over there today. He must have been running lines for uh, internet and stuff, I guess. I don't know. Cactus pears. Tamara's got two beautiful blue spruce in her front yard. I bet they're pretty. Yes, I'm in a subdivision right now where they're building homes. Used to it was all summer homes, mobile homes, A-frames, travel trailers, stuff like that, because it was a resort. And now they're buying lots, these companies are, and they're putting great big homes in there here. These houses are taking up the whole lot. But then just because they move in and they don't want trees on either side of the house they're building, that don't give them the right to come on your property and start cutting your trees down. Yes, I can 10 Lightfoot Star. 10 Light Star. If I want to, when they get through with all the construction and everything and that house is finished, if I wanted to be ornery enough, I could do that. I really could. I've got proof, I've got photos, I've got videos of a lot of it. Builder was issue only. Well, it's sometimes realtors or companies that buy the lots, they build the house, then they put the house up for sale. That's how they make their living. But they don't realize the owner of the property is whoever bought the lot and building the house. They're the owner of that place. So they are responsible. So you can sue the owner of the property, which is the home builder. Yes, I am 10 Light Star. I pay association fees. And I try not to be a complainer. I live and let live, but when, I don't want people coming on my lot and cutting my trees down. Total disregard to me, and just take it upon themselves because they don't want trees on the side of their house that they can cut mine. Yeah, but they will if they're the homeowner, because until somebody buys that property, whoever's building it that bought that property to build on is the homeowner, and they're the ones that are going to be held responsible regardless. And there's records of who that is by the permits they had to apply for through the association to build the house on that lot. They put up a privacy fence, but you can see on my side of the privacy fence is where all my trees are cut down. They wanted to make a roadway down my lot to get to the back of the lot to go to the neighbor's house over here. Well, you can't do that. That's the easement back there. That's where the water lines and the power lines are run. You can't turn that into a street, your own private street. Another guy thought he could do that. He went to visit these people over here on this side of me, but he was parked on the lot beside mine right here, behind their house. They don't own the lot. He didn't own the lot, but he got drunk and he was cutting up on the lot, and he got in his vehicle. I don't know if it was a pickup or a car, and he just floored it. The back wheels were turning, spinning and spinning and spinning. You could hear them. And he kept doing it so much that the tire busted. It blew up. And somebody called the law on him, and they took his butt to jail. And I was sitting on my doorstep. I mean, I didn't call him. I went out and sat down on my back doorstep because I'm so close, trying to see if I could tell what was going on. And the guy was over there. He just kept floorboarding it. I don't know how the vehicle was stationary to where the wheels could spin like that, but he had it that way. And he spun them so much that the tire blew. Cops were called. They were here immediately. And I could hear the cops ask him. He says, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I came to see my friends." He said, "Well, where do your friends live?" He said, "Right there." He said, "Well, do your friends own this lot?" And he said, "No." He said, "Do you own this lot?" And he says, "No." He said, "Do you know who owns this lot?" And he said, "No." He said, "Well, I hope you know you're going to be arrested for public intoxication because you're on private property that you don't own. You don't know who owns it. You shouldn't be here." So they took him to jail. I don't know what happened to him after that. They towed his vehicle off. But I think their intention at first was they have parties over here, all night parties, how they do. And that's okay. They can have their parties. I don't care, but not an all-nighter. But what they wanted to do was when they started drinking over here, they wanted to be able to come down between the two lots, the middle of the block, and get to the other house without getting out on the street in their vehicle to do it, or without getting out on the street to walk around to get to their house. Because if they come out and walked around, they could get arrested for public intoxication or whatever. But they don't realize if they do try to come down and make the easement a street, they could get in worse trouble. Yeah, that's what they were going to try to do back here. But you can't do that because that 10-foot easement has our water lines run through, or where our water meters are, where our electrical lines and other stuff are. They can't use that as a little street. They will get in really bad trouble if they try to use that for a street. I mean, how are they going to use it as a street? They'll be running over my water meter. They'll be busting. It's got like a dome over it. And even though it's low to the ground and they could possibly go over it, they're probably going to damage it trying to run over it. I mean, they can't do that. That's not a 10-foot easement for cars to be run through or four-wheelers. And I'll guarantee you, if it's ever tried to be done, I'm going to be calling somebody. They can't go all the way through mine easement anyway because there's a great big old pile of rocks and boulders that will put a stop to them right there. And I didn't put them there. That was put there, I guess, by the people that first originally put this house in and cleared this lot. Or somebody else. It wasn't me, because that pile of rocks and boulders were there when I first moved here. I have no idea, 10 Light Star. See, in the case of this one over here, it was the realtor that bought the lot. And then she was having these contractors come in and build the house. And then she puts the house up for sale and she makes commission off the house, the sale of it. That's how she makes a living. But until that house is sold, she's going to be held liable for anything that goes on. And she's the one that would be sued, if anybody. Because it's the home owner, the lot owner, that's going to be held responsible for anything that goes on over there. Exactly. She's responsible until it's sold. In fact, she's responsible for whatever's done before it's sold forever, because she's the one that let it go on. So you can't let somebody buy a house, move in, and sue them for come over here cutting your trees when the house was first being built. It'd be that property owner at the time it happened that would be held responsible. And I don't want to sue anybody, you know. But I just went over there and put my foot down. And I've also made it clear that anything left on my side of the property line finishing their construction is going to be considered mine. And so far, there are pallets and stuff like that they've kept on their side. It's the garbage that goes on my side. I went over there yesterday and picked up a whole plastic bag full. Well, actually, it was a mulch bag that was over on my lot that had blown over there. I picked it up and I started putting all kind of papers and different things, plastic bottles, one thing another. I ended up with a whole bag full. I brought it over here and put it in my garbage. I didn't say anything to them, though. I don't know if they saw me over there picking it up or not, but I shouldn't have to do that. No, I don't think the owners association has anything to do with it, because these builders were doing a lot of other people the same way, all different parts of this subdivision. Yeah, they even took a concrete truck and backed it up halfway through my property over here, trying to open up a street. Pushing trees and stuff over with the concrete truck. I said, that ain't working either. That's why I put up my temporary fence. Or it's not a fence, it's just a couple of stakes down with a cord run around it to mark where my property line is. So they know to stay on their side. And they still thought they were going to they'd be able to come outside of the fence, go along down the outside of the fence to get to the back of the lot to go across. Well, no, they can't. because they're coming on my property when they do. Once they put a privacy fence down like they did, the couple of inches leeway that's there is mine from the fence back on my side. So they can't do that. And if they'd have wanted to come out and go back over there, they should have left an opening, put a door at the back of their privacy fence so they could come out back there and they don't even have to bother coming on my lot. But, you know, that's here nor there. They may not do any of it because I think they've seen, you know, some things you just can't do. Well, I don't know who that is, MK08, whoever you are. And he loved BBC. Who is BBC? Kevin. Well, somebody told me that those trees that were cut down, you could get around $3,000 for every tree they cut. Well, like I said, I don't want to sue anybody. If it gets bad enough and they force me into it, I would, but I don't want to do that. That's crazy, putting water heaters in a ceiling or in an attic. Why would you want to put it up on the roof of your house? That's crazy. I'd want it on the ground level. Well, they had pushed a whole pile of boulders and rocks on my property with a backhoe, and I made them move it. They moved it, every one of them. But then they started throwing smaller ones all along the property line, and I've let that go because I said if they're small enough, I can pick them up and bring them over here and use them in my rock garden or something. But there's a couple of them that's too big. I can't pick them up. I can't move them. But I haven't said anything about it, and I'm not going to. I'm just going to let it go. Like I said, if it got bad enough, I will do the suing, but that's going to be for a while yet. But I don't want to do that. Well, it's not the HOA community that's building the homes. It's the contractors. And if they're building a house for sale, they don't care if somebody disabled can get through the doorways or not. They're building those homes up to specification, and you don't have to put in a door wide enough for a wheelchair to go through, I guess. Not if you get it pro bono, is that what you call it, where the attorney doesn't take a fee until he wins the case? Break down the bathroom walls to make room. Well, I know there's a lot of the newer homes that do have the heating vents in the ceiling, the AC vents as well. I mean, they're all intertwined. I don't want a new house. I don't like the way they build a lot of these new homes. Yeah, those homes were geared toward you having to get maintenance men in to clean your heating vents. You'd have to pay someone to come in and service your heating vents. Well, I've never heard that. If you build a house, I've never heard that they had a law that you had to build your doorways wide enough to accommodate a disabled person, maybe with a wheelchair or something. But then I haven't built a house, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about all those rules, regulations, and laws about building a house because I've never tried to build one. See, that's what I'm saying, 10 Light Star. They're building a new home, so you got to get service people in to take care of all that stuff, like your HVAC in your ceiling and all that kind of stuff. You can't change the filters yourself. You got to pay a service guy to come in and do it. That's the reason I don't want any part of a new house. If I had a new house, I'd want everything accessible for me to take care of, not to where I've got to pay someone to come in and change a air filter in a heater or a AC unit. Because people can't afford all that, you know? You can't afford to pay a service person to come in to do everything in your house. Well, I don't know about it, 10 Light Star. So, like I said, I don't know the rules and regulations about building new homes today. They don't want to do it the old school way, Wilson. They can't charge you money for servicemen to come in to change out your air filters or clean your ducts or do any of that stuff. Good gracious, I just noticed we've been on here for over 2 hours now. I agree, I can change my own filter if I can reach it. Yeah, mine are right in the door of my furnace. My AC and my heater is one unit. You just change the controls, go from heating to cooling. And my 3 filters are right in the doorway. And I can just open the door and pull them out and put new ones in. I don't have to pay a service guy to come out here to do it. Yeah, I don't want a plastic bathtub. I've got it's metal with enamel inlay over the top. So if you step in it, it's not going to crack. I mean, after it gets 100 years old, it might rust out a hole in it, but it's not going to crack when you step in it. Well, this mobile home I live in definitely is not disabled ready. It would not accommodate somebody with a wheelchair or anything else. And I don't know what the guidelines are for the new homes where that's concerned. I've never checked into it because I've never had to. And my mom's or dad was never in a wheelchair, so they didn't have to worry about that. Check the ADA laws. It just says in Texas, the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, and the Texas Accessibility Standards, TAS, ensure equal opportunities and protection against discrimination for individuals with disabilities in various areas, including employment, public service, and accommodations. And then it comes down with a breakdown of it all. Let's get to the building part. Texas Health and Safety Code. Buildings and facilities in Texas are subject to compliance with the Texas Accessibility Standards. These standards were written to be consistent with the Americans with Disabilities Act requirements of the accessibility contained in federal 2010 standards for accessible design. Knowledge of the importance of implementing structure and architectural barriers so that buildings and facilities were readily accessible to the and usable by people with disabilities. Let's see, Texas. Yeah, but that's mostly in like public places, not a private residence. I mean, I know, in the general public, like the bathrooms and other accommodations have to be disability available or accessible. But I didn't know they can govern how you built your own house. And if you build a house that's not accessible to a person in a wheelchair, well, they don't have to buy that house. They can go buy another one somewhere else. So I don't know that home builders, yeah, you can't predict a disability. Let's see, maybe let's see. It says all areas of facilities, including public and common use areas, are required to be accessible in new construction except those that are specifically exempt. Yeah, see here, the ADA covers public accommodations while the Fair Housing Act covers housing. Generally, the ADA does not apply to residential housing. So if I was going to build a house right here, I would not have to have it built to disabled accessibility guidelines because it's my private residence. It's not a public residence, like county or city restroom or something like that. Yeah, so the best thing they can do is just try to find a house that was built for a disabled accessibility. Or if they could, just to build their house with the accessibility for a disabled person. Because you know that the realtor that bought this lot to build this house on didn't buy it to necessarily build it for a disabled person. They build it for the general public, whoever wants to come buy this house, that comes to see it, they like this house, they buy it. They have the right to buy it or refuse to buy it. They don't have to buy this house. So therefore it does not have to be, by law, disabled accessible, according to this. Now, if it was an apartment building or something like that, now they could probably force them to upgrade to guidelines to be able to accommodate disabled people, because that is open to the public. It's not a private residence, so to speak. It's an open entity for anybody throughout the public that wants to rent there. So I can see where they might be forced to at least have part of the apartments or housing part of it be accessible to disabled people. Because not doing so would be discriminating against disables. It's my way of thinking. Oh, wow. Well, according to what I just read about Texas, Texas does not require a private residence to be built for a disabled accessibility. They can build it however they want as long as they're in the guidelines of the law, but it doesn't have to be geared toward a disabled person. Because, you can go, like I said, they could contact someone if they're in the market to buy a home and have one built for them that has the disability accessibility to it. Like the wider doors, special stuff like in bathrooms for, to help them maneuver around. Yeah, now see, if it's these developers that are buying up big lots of land, large amounts of property, and building, it's just real estate investment that they're building apartments or houses or whatever they're building. I would see where by law they would have to provide so much of that geared toward disabled people. They can't discriminate and just solely build every one of those dwellings as a 100% able person. That would be discriminating against any disabled person that would want to live there. I could see where they would have to. They'd have to put a certain percentage of their housing that they're building done toward the laws to provide disability accessibility. Yeah, I think that's wrong, 10 Light Star. because they should be building a certain percentage of those homes for disabled people. Because there's a lot of disabled people out there. Not only veterans from the wars and, being in the service, but a lot of other people that have never been in the service are disabled. A lot of people in wheelchairs that need the wider doorways, and accommodations in their house to be able to maneuver with a wheelchair. Yeah, townhouse style apartments may not have a bathroom on the ground floor. And see, that's not accessible to a disabled person. Especially if they're in a wheelchair. They can't go up a flight of stairs, can they? Unless they've got a wheelchair lift. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, they should set aside a certain amount of those dwellings to be for disabled people that need special accommodations. They probably sell a lot more of them or rent a lot more of them. I don't understand the way they built this house over here, but I do too. It's the not the contractor, but the person they buy the blueprints for to build by. I was going to draw you something and maybe show you what I'm talking about here if I can get a marker. Get one that'll write, draw or something. Oh, this one is not working good. Let's see if I can find one. I want it dark enough so when I hold it up you can see what I'm talking about. Now, I don't know if this makes any sense. But this is the house. This is the back of the house. This is the front. See this little hallway? It's open to the outside. There's no roof over it, no nothing. But that's your doorway, your front door, right up in there. So you have to go up in that little hallway to get to your front door. And one of the builders was questioned about it. And they said, well, the realtor didn't like the plans, but the person that drew up the blueprints wanted to charge extra to change it. Because they did want a hallway there, but they wanted the hallway inside. But to change it, he was going to charge them some outrageous amount to change it. So they just built it as he drew it up. So their doorway is inset in the front of the house, which I think is totally weird. Because you'll still be in the rain or whatever when you're trying to get to your front door. But it's just, you have to go through this outside hallway to get to your front door. They did the same thing to my daughter and her husband when they were getting ready to build their house in Vista Ranch. The first set of plans they looked at, there was a lot of it they liked, but there was a few things they didn't like. And the person that drew up the blueprints wanted to charge some outrageous amount just to make the changes. And they didn't want it, so they didn't go with the blueprints. They went somewhere else and got the plans for their house. But you know what they could have done was use the same measurements and just put the roof over that part and put the hallway inside by the same measurements that were already there. And the door would have been here instead of up here. I said I'd be afraid I'd get mugged going to my front door because nobody could see you from the street. which is not that many people around here, or hasn't been anyway, so you might not be seen anyway, but still. No, and there's no cover over that area either. The roof doesn't go over that little hallway section. I guess they could put a door. They could probably put a door here, but why? It's all open. If it rains down in there because it's brick on each side of it. It's a brick wall going into the front door. And it's not real wide. It's just a regular doorway, like a real regular hallway. But it's set into the house. Yeah, that's what I figured. Well, it sounds like to me it's an area for crime being built like that because they always say to keep your front door clear from burglars. Yeah. I want my front door on the front of my house. I don't want it inset inside where nobody from the sides or the street can really see you. You could get mugged and be laying there dead and nobody'd know it till they come to your front door. Well, they'll probably be recommending that you put in a chime doorbell for crime reasons. This area is not that ritzy, but they're trying to make it that way, I'm afraid. Well, I've got security cameras up all around my yard, and I'm getting ready to put a couple more up. And I've always got one right on my front door. Oh, oh my goodness, we've been on here for 2.5 hours, but we've been having fun. We've been talking a lot. I guess I better get off because I've still got to go to the store and see if I can buy me some corned beef to cook tomorrow. Yeah, I definitely put cameras or lighting or something up in there. I don't know. I mean, that's the first house I've ever seen built with the doorway inset like that. And you know, the person that drew up the blueprints purposely do stuff like that to charge you more money to make changes. It's another way that they find that they can make more money, as if they're not charging you enough already. To buy you a 12-pack of Cokes too. I've been trying to stay away from drinking sodas. I've been drinking too many of them. They don't like my body. Well, y'all, I could stay on here all afternoon or in evening too, but I better go, like I said, if I'm going to go to the store and see if I can find me some corned beef for tomorrow. That's why they're doing it, all of these association neighborhoods, because they're trying to say that the association neighborhoods have less crime, which is just not true. No, it's not. I agree with you, 10 Light Star. No, it's not true because the subdivision next to this one is a gated community with a security guard at the gate. And if you're not a property owner, it can show proof of ownership and all that, you don't get in. Or if you don't have the written consent of the property owner for you to go in to visit, you don't go in. And we lived there the first year we were here. And you know who was doing the stealing back during that time? It was the security people. They'd find out when you were on vacation or going to be gone for a few days or a week, and your property was the one that was stolen from. The thieves went into your property because they knew you were gone. And they found out it was the security people doing it. Some security, right? I mean, it may not be that way now. I don't know who their security is today, Don't know anything about what goes on over there now, but I know that's what happened back in 78, 79, around that era. Yeah, I haven't had corned beef and cabbage in a long time, and we got to talking about that. That was the dish that you're supposed to fix on St. Patty's Day. And I said, well, I don't have any corned beef. I got cabbage, but I don't have corned beef. And I don't have milk for the Irish soda bread either. I think motion cameras with lights in that area would work, motion lights anyway, even if you can't put up a camera in there. Well, there's all kind of cameras. You can get battery operated cameras that don't even have to be on Wi-Fi or anything to get them to work. And you've got the picture recorded in the chip inside that you take and put on your laptop, and there you go. You got the picture of your criminal. And you don't have to worry about electrical wiring or anything, just a place to hang it and it's there. Just like the trail cams. My son's got trail cams out where he watches his deer and those wild hogs coming up behind his house and all. They're battery operated. They don't require any electrical wiring, nothing. They just have batteries in them. And he said they last a pretty good long time. I have raw oysters. Want some? No, I don't. If I had them, Dennis, I'd fry them. I'd batter them and fry them. I love fried oysters, but not raw ones. Oh my goodness, 10 Light Star. When you would get hurricanes, the front room was getting flooded into the front room because the house had settled below the dirt. Oh my gosh. Yeah, plywood molds and rots. In areas like that, you need to build homes like they do in India. They build them all out of concrete and blocks and rocks and dirt. So something like that happens, it's still there usually. I mean, blocks and concrete usually stay put. And it don't rot. It don't get termites in it. Wilson wants some of your raw oysters, Dennis. He can have my share. Like I said, unless I could batter them and fry them, I'd love them. Well, y'all, I don't want to draw this out any longer. I'm feeling like some people are getting tired of watching. We're down to 26 people watching. So I feel like I'm boring some people. So thank everybody for coming in to my live today. I've enjoyed it. I got one scheduled for tomorrow night, St. Patty's Day. And there's Gladys. She was sleeping and she just got in here. Gladys, we were about to wind up and stop for the day. We've been going for 2.5 hours. Yeah, we used to have a security guard that patrolled our whole subdivision. And not much ever went on with him here, but we don't have a security out here anymore. They can't afford a security. Yeah, we can't afford it either based on the association fees. We don't have, a lot of people don't even want to pay what fees they've got now, so I know they wouldn't pay anything any higher. In fact, our association is taking a lot of people, quite a few people, to court. And they'll end up with the property if they don't come up with the back fees they owe, which is unfortunate for those people. Sometimes they think they can just refuse to pay and they don't have any consequences, but it's happened before. People go for 7, 8 years or longer and never pay any property dues. And they get notified all the time that their dues are past due and they don't pay them. And then finally they're taken to court. Their property's taken away from them because they refuse to pay the dues. And the county will sell it. It's unfortunate, I know. I mean, I don't know wild Irish rose. She said, that's okay. I'll go eat. It's fine. I need to eat dinner. Yeah, trail cam would be the best option in there. Just put it at a place where nobody is going to really notice it coming in. And that thing would record everything going on. Because their motion detect, their motion, the camera comes on and by any motion that comes in front of it. The association that I was in was building on raised dirt landfill. Are you kidding me? No, years ago, they got homes built here, like brick homes and stuff, but they're mostly down on the lake bank. They're really nice homes down there, but back further away and up on the hill, it's mostly mobile homes. They had camper lots. People would come stay for the weekend, that type of thing. They don't allow campers here anymore. And the mobile homes that are allowed here have to be 950 square feet, and they've got to be new ones. They can't, well, they don't even allow mobile homes. It's got to be a manufactured home, is what they call it. So, lots of things have changed over the years that I've lived here. Oh, wow. Big crack in the foundation when they opened up the floor. Wilson said, go to H-E-B or Walmart. Well, I was going to go to Walmart first. Because I know in the years past I've seen some pretty decent corned beef in there. I just haven't looked lately. So I don't know what they've got. Okay, y'all. I'm going to take off. I'm going to run to Walmart and see if I can find me some corned beef to cook for tomorrow. And if I find any, I will do a video on it. I probably won't do it in the live tomorrow night because I want to eat it before then. So I'll probably just do a video on it. But we'll have something special going on tomorrow night. So y'all just have to wait and see. All right, y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. Y'all have a blessed night, and I will see you on tomorrow on St. Patty's Day. Bye now. Love y'all.